Okay, so we got a project that we are going to tackle. As you guys know, we have talked about adding a covered front porch. So we really want to have some substantial columns here on either side of this lower step. So I think we're going to do something about 48 inches tall, 3 feet by 3 feet. We've kind of gone back and forth on whether we want to do it out of stone or if we're going to do it out of the siding material, and I think we decided we're going to build this out of the siding material with a stone cap, which will be reinforced so we could set our 8x8 post on top of the stone, which will eventually support the canopy that will come over. So this video is going to be, I guess, part 1 of 2, because we're going to tackle the 4-foot columns on either side for now. What that entails is us digging out and pouring a footer here. We're going to pour the center of the footer a little thicker than the outer part. We'll do a 4-inch on the outer part and a 12-inch on the center part, because that will carry the point load. So we're going to get started on that right now. First step is clean out our spot. Alright guys, so I've decided that I'm going to use a little bit more concrete. We're going to actually have 8 inches on the edges, 16 inches on the center. This is going to be bomb-proof. So I'm going to do a dry pour method. I've done it a couple times. I'm going to wet it down a little bit in between some bags, but for the most part, this should be pretty easy. Alright, we've poured the slabs, both sides. We're going to keep moistening these slabs for the next couple of hours before we strip the forms. The next thing you'll see is us framing up the boxes to the columns, siding it, and then capping off the stone. So we'll see you tomorrow. Alright, well today we are going to build the frame for these columns. Now remember, we're going to be wrapping them in that cedar. So we're going to build a box out of 4x4s. I'm going with 4x4s because I want it to be stout and heavy. We are attaching it to the slab, but you know, I still want that substantial feel to it. So we're going with 4x4s, pressure treated, of course. But we're going to get started on measuring, getting the proper dimension, and starting to cut those pieces, the horizontals and the verticals. I need a flat area that I can start assembling these column boxes. So I'm going to start moving things into the garage. It's the only flat area I have around here. We got tons of rocks, we got tons of hills. So I'm going to move it into the garage. We're going to assemble the side panels. That way it's a little easier to transport. We We may actually assemble the whole thing. I don't know, but we'll figure that out. Let's get everything moved in. All right, everyone, so I have built the 2 boxes. I'm gonna also build a frame that, because eventually this is gonna hold the load of our canopy. So I'm gonna build a support frame that goes down right to the center of it. Because if you remember, when we poured that footer, we poured it extra thick in the center. So when the load transfers from the top, it'll come all the way down and it'll just be a continual load through there. So that's the next thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna drag these out there and test fit it. Any of the other boards and the center load will be taken care of on the slabs. Well, today the sun is out and we are going to try to knock out these columns. We're at least going to put the sheathing on it, the center support, and get the waterproofing applied to it. Waterproofing just like the ice and water shield that we had on the roof. We're going to do a little bit different kind, but we're going to wrap it to protect it, anchor it down, and if we have enough time, maybe we'll side it today. All right, as you can see, we put the center post in there. That's going to be carrying the load when the canopy comes on. And we just put a couple 4x4 scrap spacers just to keep it in the center. We're going to add a couple more, and then we're going to start sheathing this thing up and wrapping it with waterproofing the rest of the way. As you can see, we did the sheathing and the waterproofing already on the back side because we realized we weren't going to have access to the back side once we slid it in next to the step into the deck. So we're on track. Let's close this one in. Alright, well, we have finished both columns. The tops have been wrapped. Everything is attached. We are ready to start siding. So we're going to jump on that right now. We're going to wrap it in the Tando Beach House shake like we did the rest of the house. And then these tops will be capped with stone. And then we'll be ready for the next stage when we get ready to do the canopy. So here we go. All right, guys, so we are going to get started on the column caps today. Alright, well, as you can see, they have both of the columns done and they've grouted it. We haven't cleaned the grout yet, but boy, it sure does look good. I don't know if we're going to keep this black. I'm kind of feeling maybe changing that color to match more of the stone. I'm not quite sure yet, but we're going to let Jana decide on that. Well, it's a beautiful morning, and we got it all cleaned up, and our front columns are finished. We love the look of it. It really turned out great. Gives a certain depth to the front of the house, and I hope you guys come back when we decide to put the rest of the awning on in another episode. Y'all have a good day.